2021 to date, 2 males. Others, 2019, 5 males and 1 female. 2020, 16 males and 1 female. To January 2021 to date, 14 males and 2 females. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to Part B of the question, I am informed by the Passport and Immigration Office that the number of expatriates reported missing by their employers is 2,224 as at date, comprising 2,126 males and 98 females. Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to inform the House that a non-citizen is not allowed to take any paid employment in Mauritius without a valid work permit under the provisions of the Non-Citizens Employment Restriction Act. Any non-citizen engaged in any gainful employment in Mauritius without a valid work permit shall commit an offence and shall be liable on conviction to a fine of not less than 25,000 rupees but not more than 50,000 rupees, and to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years. Likewise, it is an offence for any employer or any individual to employ a non-citizen without a valid work permit. Such an offence is also subject to a fine of not less than 25,000 rupees, but not more than 50,000 rupees, and to imprisonment for a term not exceeding 2 years. Mr. Speaker, sir, employers of non-citizens in Mauritius have an obligation under Section 6 of the Non-Citizens Employment Restriction Work Permit Regulations 2017 to forthwith notify the Ministry of Labour, Human Resource Development and Training and the Passport and Immigration Office where their workers, that is the non-citizens, are missing for more than 5 consecutive days from their dormitories and workplaces. Once notified, the PIO and the Ministry of Labour, Human Resource Development and Training conduct independent inquiries, respectively, to ascertain the circumstances surrounding the absence of the worker from his workplace and whether the conditions of the contract of employment have been breached. Further to investigations by the two authorities, the work permit and the residence permit, if still valid, are normally cancelled. Thereon, the PIU pursues the search for the worker with the aim of locating and repatriating him. Should incriminating evidence be obtained against the offender in this process, the case may be referred to the Commissioner of Police for investigation and referral to the Director of Public Prosecutions for appropriate advice. Mr. Speaker, sir, with a view to addressing the problem, a high-level committee co-chaired by the Minister of Labour, Human Resource Development and Training and the Attorney General was set up to analyze and propose solutions for remedying the current situation whereby many foreign workers are missing from their workplaces and working illegally in Mauritius.
Mr. Speaker, I'd like to ask the Prime Minister, the figures that is given appear on the low side compared to what has been publicly been said by the police. And also I note that he says no Alzheimer's sufferers are still missing, but I know of a case in his own constituency, number 8, where I think it's Mr. Mohan, if the name is right, is still missing. Perhaps the Prime Minister, I know he hasn't had much notice, can ask for the figures to be double-checked. They do seem to be very much on the low side compared to what the police have been releasing recently.
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, I can only rely on the figures and the information that have been provided to me by the police. And I take it that they have records of all those persons who are missing. And as I have just said, the standing order of the police itself regulates in what categories, whenever there are people who are reported missing. And so I believe that they are very reliable information. Now, if the Honourable Leader of the Opposition has a specific case which he just mentioned, if it can be provided to me, the details of which, of course, I will check with the police to find out. Yeah. Now, let me say one thing also with regard to, because I had a look also at different press reports. We have to be careful. We cannot rely also on certain press reports as opposed to real figures.
I'll send you that specific case that might show that some of these figures are not accurate. Anyway, even if we take the 53 persons still missing over the last 2.5 years, Mr. Speaker, every case, as we know, is a traumatizing experience for the family. Every case is a tragic tragedy for the family. So I'd like to ask the Prime Minister that there have been reports in the press, and I've spoken to some of these families, that the system put in place by the police is not adequate, in that it's police stations taking care of it, just uniformed police usually, and the families feel that not enough attention is rapidly given to their cases, and often, if it's too late, to find a missing person already dead. So would the Prime Minister consider speaking to the Commissioner of Police to see that, as in other countries, you would have a specialized squad, a specialized unit, maybe in each district headquarters, that could take missing persons as their main objective, and therefore make sure that this is always followed up, and cases, whether they be 1 year or 10 years old, remain active and live?
Well, I can assure the Honourable Leader of the Opposition that whenever there is a case reported of a person missing, if that person, of course, is not being able to be traced out within 24 hours, there is a huge deployment within the police force for, first of all, communicating to each police station and authorities, and also using the media to try to gather as much information as possible. And also there is thorough investigation with regard to those who are close and relatives, of course, to the missing persons. So now, whether we should have a specialized unit, I don't know. It has to be looked into. But I can say that all police stations are there and then fully involved in trying to locate that missing person. Of course, it is a tragedy for the close ones, for the family, for the relatives and friends.
Mr. Speaker, why I'm saying this? Because I've taken the trouble to download the missing person website from the Mauritius Police Force. Now, I say the PASMO, the Prime Minister has given 53 only in the last 2.5 years. Are you aware, Mr. Speaker, is the Prime Minister aware that the last apparent posting on this Mauritius Police Force website was in 2013, nearly 10 years ago, 2013, and it's only got 11 persons on it, whereas since that time to date, there are hundreds probably still missing. So this is why, Mr. Speaker, my point is, it's obvious that there are some lacunas in the way that the police are dealing with it. And I can take other examples to show that there are lacunas and there should be a specialized unit. It is where its main objective to drive the fight, the finding, the tracing of these persons. I will table, Mr. Speaker, for your knowledge.
I'm not aware about the website, but again, let me say that, well, the website is one thing, but the information is communicated to all police stations, to the media also, to the MBC for dissemination, so that people who have any information can come forward and help the police in the work.
Let me take this website as an example, Mr. Speaker. There are not even pictures on the website, just the names of the persons. So if we take that as an example of how the police is treating missing persons, you will see that they are not giving it the importance that the tragedy represents for each family. It's a question of amount, of effort. And Mr. Speaker, therefore, please let's raise this with perhaps the Prime Minister can raise it with the Commissioner of Police. But I mean, there is no national missing persons database that you can look at, that is public, that people can check. So also, Mr. Speaker, the feeling is that there's only limited publicity given to each person who has disappeared. So what can the Prime Minister? It's a question. I'm sorry, it's not a political PNQ. It's a question of human tragedy and human suffering. Can I appeal to the Prime Minister that there be much more attention given to the missing persons, because we have just had two recently found dead, two ladies found dead. This is a national tragedy, and we must look at it more seriously from the police point of view.
Let me say we must use all possible avenues and, of course, use the technology also to try to resolve, in this case, missing persons. But as I say again, there cannot be better than communicating and informing the public and the investigative authorities, not only the police, but other authorities also, so that they are not only aware, but they, of course, will collaborate and try to help in trying to find a missing person.
Let me move on to Safe City. Now, the Safe City project, we were told, has facial recognition software. I mean, are these missing persons, are there pictures being put on the Safe City Safe City system so that we can try and retrace them?
Well, I answered a question on that, and as far as I can remember, this software is not yet in operation. I can recall that there would be inputs of people like those who are missing, criminals and so on, of course, so that they can be identified. But that is not yet in operation. I know they are actively working on it, and hopefully it will come.
Date when it will be operational?
I don't have a date, but I can find out.
I also asked the Prime Minister whether, with telephones now, you can track the telephone where it is, even if it's off, you can track the telephones. Are the police using telephone tracking systems to find the person that is reported missing?
Mr. Speaker, sir, of course, I am not aware of the way that the investigations take place, the methods that are being used in order to try to track a person who is missing. But I'm sure that the police would be using the available technology, as mentioned by the leader of the opposition, like trying to track, for example, a telephone. I believe that this must probably be done.
Prime Minister might want to check, because it's apparently not the case, and if it is the case, they wait for judges' orders, it takes months, etc. So the system needs to be completely redynamized. Mr. Speaker, as far as Alzheimer sufferers are concerned, there are about 5,000 Alzheimer sufferers. Now, we've just been shown that there's a lot of money in the budget. Isn't it time, Mr. Speaker, that we could offer at least lower-income persons, the pensioners, a tracking device for those suffering from Alzheimer? It's a bracelet, it's not expensive. Is that something that you could consider?
Well, I take note of this proposal from the Honourable Leader of the Opposition, and we'll look into that. But with regard to the earlier question that was put I heard the Honorable Leader of the Opposition saying that it takes time because of judge's order. It does take time, yes. In fact, I am aware, because there is a legal process before you can get information which are confidential. And therefore, that we will have to, I believe that the Attorney General will have to have consultations with the judiciary to try to...
Mr. Press upon the Attorney General, that would be a very good case of where privacy can be lifted so that we can find the persons that are missing quickly as possible, because time is of the essence in all these issues. Can I ask the Honourable Prime Minister, concerning now unidentified bodies in morgues, would the Prime Minister have the number of, we're talking about people not found and people who are lying in morgues are obviously dead, and how many bodies do we have at the moment? Would you know?
Yeah, I have been communicated this, there it is. So, for 2019, we have 2 unidentified human remains and dead bodies. And then for 2020, 3.
Can I ask the Prime Minister, as far as the DNA tests are concerned? Now, I'm told that in other countries, DNA tests take only a few days. In Mauritius, when we are looking at these dead bodies, etc., DNA test takes 3 to 6 months. Would the Prime Minister know why this is the case?
I wouldn't know, but of course I will look into that.
If I may now come to the foreigners, Mr. Speaker, I think there are something like 2,400 which are missing. That is a very large number for such a small island like Mauritius. Can the Prime Minister tell us why it is, what is the difficulty in tracing those persons?
Well, the difficulty, you know, I must say that first of all, the cases have to be reported by the employers, and then all the detailed information must be provided so that the police then can start investigating and try to track them. But I must say, at times, quite a number have been able to be traced, and they have been arrested, they have been repatriated. But with regard to others, unfortunately, it does take time. I must say, I must admit that it does take time, because they try to, you know, avoid and they are harbored. And some, unfortunately, there are cases where there are, I would call them unscrupulous employers also, who take advantage and do employ them illegally, of course, but also they do harbor them so that police is not able to get them as quickly as possible. But we hope that there is also the collaboration of the public, so that you know, police can get reliable information wherever there is people who are illegally staying and illegally working.
Mr. Speaker, it's about what, less than, well, more than 5% at least of the expatriates in Mauritius are missing at the moment. Does that, what measures will the government propose, given that now we are going to open to students of all sorts, to other people like that? What measures will the government take to ensure that this doesn't happen over and over again now, with students coming from all over, supposedly to study in Mauritius, if we can't even find the people who are here at the moment?
Well, as I say, there is a committee which has been set up to look into that. But there are a few measures that have already been taken. For example, the Bank of Mauritius has instructed all its licensees to review their guidelines such that banking transactions by foreign workers are undertaken under stringent conditions. And all foreign workers are being required to produce adequate documentary evidence, including a copy of their valid work permit or other documents and so on. I don't want to go into all the details, so that they can effect transactions at commercial banks and money exchange dealers. Because, of course, many of them, they do work, as I say, they do work illegally, and they do send the money abroad. Now, we have also amendments to the Non-Citizens Employment Restriction Act, which have already been initiated and will reinforce the following provisions. That is a substantive increase in the fine for the illegal employment of non-citizens from 100,000 rupees to 500,000 rupees, an increase in imprisonment term from 2 years to a maximum of 5 years, and the courts will have the power to impose the costs of repatriation of the worker on the illegal employer. And there are other measures also which are being taken and are being looked into. But as I say again, this committee, which comprises, of course, of the police, of Prime Minister's office, the MEXA also, that is the private sector, will address this issue and come with other recommendations.
Thank you very much. Can Prime Minister give us a breakdown in relation to countries of origin of expatriate workers presently missing and were reported as such by their employees?
Yes, I do have this document, Mr. Speaker, sir. Yes, I have it, and it's a long list. I can circulate, can table this document.
Mr. Speaker, my last question concerns the U.S. State Department report of June 2020. And this is what the U.S. State Department said. The National Steering Committee on Human Trafficking was inactive. It is headed by the PMO, I believe. Was inactive since a change in leadership in March 2019. Can the Prime Minister tell us whether this National Steering Committee is still inactive or whether it has now restarted its work?
Well, Mr. Speaker, sir, I'm personally looking into the report, the findings of this report, although I must say I do not entirely agree with those findings. But anyway, we have to address this issue because, of course, it is a report which has been rendered public by a country with whom we have very good and friendly relations. But I have been in touch with different units, different authorities in order to address this issue.
Or inactive?
It is active. No, that's why I say it is not. I mean, I don't want to say more on that because, you know, I don't know. Sometimes I wonder where they also gather the information. But anyway, we will engage with the U.S. And of course provide them with the information that in order to correct certain, probably there might be misunderstanding or confusion, I believe, but we will provide them with the right, reliable information.
Question to the Prime Minister. The table is advised that PQ is B552, B553, B554, B555, and B556 have been withdrawn. Are we sure?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Sir, B547.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the Safe City project is being implemented to safeguard national security and public safety. As such, it enables the Mauritius Police Force to effectively discharge its duties under the Police Act and other duties as may be conferred upon it under any other enactment. The Safe City project incorporates a wide array of technology-driven subsystems. Their integration and their interoperability are effective tools in obtaining more reliable intelligence for decision makers to enable them to be proactive and to optimize responses in dealing with situations of law and order, thereby contributing to enhance the safety and security of Mauritian citizens and our visitors. The project comprises the following deliverables and components: the supply, installation, testing, and commissioning of 4,000 intelligent video surveillance cameras over 2,000 sites, the supply, installation, testing, and commissioning of 300 intelligent traffic surveillance cameras over 75 sites, a supply, installation, testing, and commissioning of 45 enterprise enhanced long-term evolution sites, including 4,500 multimedia radio trunking and 500 vehicular-mounted terminals, and centralized command and control center, including a main command and control center, a modern integrated emergency response management system, 7 sub-command centers, a traffic management and control center, and a monitoring bay at each of the 71 police stations and 1 police post. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that since the coming into operation of the main command and control center in August 2019, 200 cases as at date which required a police inquiry have been detected through the Safe City cameras. Out of these, 7 cases were related to drug dealing and drug possession, while 1 case was related to drug trafficking. I wish to highlight that the Safe City cameras are extensively used by anti-drug and smuggling unit in the detection of cases, in the investigation of ongoing cases, and also for gathering of intelligence. Furthermore, it has been observed that the presence of Safe City cameras acts as a deterrent to drug trafficking. In regard to Part A of the question, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that, as at date, 146 IBS cameras and 4 ITS cameras have been installed and are operational in constituency number 4, Port Louis North and Montailo. There is also a monitoring bay at each of the 2 police stations in constituency number 4. Police vehicles at these police stations are also fitted with multimedia radios which are connected to the Safe City system. The Safe City cameras have been installed in order to deliver an efficient and effective policing service to the residents of constituency number 4 and meet the public needs and expectations. Prior to the installation of these cameras, the Mauritius Police Force conducted a survey to identify strategic sites where these cameras would be installed. The following factors have been considered during the exercise: crime-prone areas, accident-prone areas, vicinity of educational institutions, vicinity of places of worship, major roads where there are heavy traffic flows, and well-frequented public places. Mr. Speaker, sir, as regards Part B of the question, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that the following measures are being taken to combat drug trafficking. The anti-drug smuggling unit personnel work jointly with the special support unit, the groupe d'intervention de la police mauricienne, the local police, the National Coast Guard, as well as other external agencies, such as the Customs Anti-Narcotics Section of the Mauritius Revenue Authority, the Mauritius Port Authority, the Cargo Handling Corporation Limited, and the Central Post Office to prevent the entry of illegal drugs in the country and suppress other illegal activities along our coastal areas. Increase in the human resources and logistics of the ADSU, stringent measures at the point of entries, namely at the port and airport, working in close collaboration with regional and international anti-drug agencies, regular targeted crackdown operations, tailor-made training for ADSU personnel to enhance capabilities, a close collaboration between ADSU and other law enforcement agencies, such as the Financial Intelligence Unit, Independent Commission Against Corruption, Asset Recovery Investigation Division, and ADSU, as part of its duties, gathers information and intelligence from the public, informants, and other sources. The following additional measures are also being taken to curb drug trafficking: the movement of vessels entering the territorial waters of Mauritius are closely monitored by National Coast Guard Operations Room through the automatic identification system and the coastal surveillance radar system, which will be replaced by a modern surveillance system shortly. Suspicious persons and pleasure crafts are checked by National Coast Guard officers, MRA Customs officers, and fisheries officers. Regular aerial surveillance patrols of our coastal waters are carried out by NCG Dornier aircraft and police helicopters. The seaborne patrols are carried out by NCG vessels, CGS Barracuda, CGS Valiant, and CGS Victory, and heavy-duty boats and fast interceptor boats. Joint crackdown operations are carried out by officers of the NCG, MPA, ADSU, Police Dogs Unit, GIPM, Marcos, SSU, and MRA. Suspicious incoming parcels and mails are checked by postal officers in presence of ADSU and MRA custom officers. The NCG field intelligence officers gather information on operators of pleasure crafts with high rating engines, and the movement of these crafts are monitored by the NCG Maritime Intelligence Cell. A hotline 177 is available for reporting suspicious activities, and an NCG officer based at the Regional Coordination Operations Center in Seychelles and another one based at the Regional Maritime Information Fusion Center in Madagascar also provide intelligence on maritime movement where there is suspicion of drug trafficking. Moreover, additional resources will be provided in the next financial year to increase the operational and intelligence gathering capabilities of ADSU. Mr. Speaker, sir, as I have stated time and again, my government is fully committed in relentlessly combating the drug scourge, and various and frequent seizures of drugs do prove that no stone is being left unturned to deal with the drug situation in the country.
Can the Honourable Minister inform the House whether all the cameras in constituency number 4 are currently operational?
Yes, I understand that all the 4 intelligent traffic systems are operational, and as regards the intelligent video surveillance, I said there are presently 146 cameras, and all of them are in service. I am also informed that there are more IVS cameras, which are being installed at 5 different sites in Abercrombie and in 2 different sites, in Montailon. Those cameras being installed will add on to the already 146 IVS cameras.
Can the Honourable Prime Minister inform whether the ADSU is properly manned in constituency number 4?
Well, although the ADSU teams, they are free to operate island-wide because we don't depend only on those teams which are located in number 4. I must say all the regions of number 4 are being covered by 8 ADSU teams that are based in Port Louis and 1 based in Northern Division. Now each team is commanded by an officer of the rank of sergeant or inspector and supervised by a chief inspector. And each team consists of an average of 10 police officers. As I said, Mr. Speaker, sir, in my reply, the ADSU teams, they do not work in isolation, but instead they work jointly with the Special Supporting Unit, the GIPM, the local police, and it is worth mentioning that in constituency number 4 and its boundary, there are 5 police stations, and in each police station there is a monitoring bay for viewing the live images that are transmitted by the Safe City cameras that are found in the station itself.
Can I ask Prime Minister whether there has been an effective study carried out in respect of video surveillance and the monitoring and surveillance of our coastal zone, let alone of our EZ?
Sorry?
Can I ask Prime Minister whether there has been a study carried out to assess the effectiveness of video surveillance and monitoring of the surveillance of our coastal and EZ?
Well, coastal and EZ, Mr. Speaker, sir, do not relate to this question. Yes, I have stated all the measures that are being taken by ADSU. But if the honourable member will come with a specific question, of course I will answer. This question relates to constituency number 4. What is being done? Yes.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I would like to know from the Honourable Prime Minister, are all the sub-command centres operational? I'm referring to the function of the IVS, ITS, ELTE, multimedia radio tracking, vehicular mounted terminals.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, the ones are situated at Central Division, the Southern Division, the Central Division, the Metro South Division, Eastern Division, Western Division, Northern Division, and the Traffic Command Center are all operational. Now there are 2, one at the Southern Division where installation is being completed and they are awaiting for powerful configuration. And the other one, well, unfortunately, this relates to Abercrombie, Metro North Division, where I am informed that works is still in progress by ESD, and ACs are not yet installed. So we are hopefully in the near future, this one also will become operational.
Last supplementary.
In addition to the various measures mentioned by the Honourable Prime Minister, can the Honourable Prime Minister inform us whether there are any other specific measures being taken to curb the rise of synthetic drugs, particularly the identification of laboratories that are cropping up in certain inner cities?
Yes.
Thank you.
Well, these are the measures that are being taken in order to counter drug trafficking. And drug trafficking or drug consumption, of course, there's no difference. All drugs are illegal, including synthetic drugs. So all these measures have been taken in order to see to it that we get rid of this drug scourge.
Next question.
B548.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that since January 2010 to 11th of June 2021, 374 police officers have been interdicted from duty in accordance with Regulation 28 of the Discipline Forces Service Commission regulations, which provides for the interdiction of members of the discipline forces. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am tabling the information regarding the reasons for the interdiction of the police officers by category of offence.
Thank you. Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. In your answer, you mentioned the figure of 374. Can the Honorable Prime Minister inform the House whether actions have been taken following comments from the Director of Audit with regard to the huge amount of fund being paid to the interdicted police officers? Thank you.
Yes, Mr. Speaker, sir, on 17th of October 2020, the Commissioner of Police had issued an order, number 3 of 2020, as regards inquiries into criminal cases involving police officers to be dealt with on a fast-track basis, requesting divisional commanders and branch officers to take immediate remedial actions to deal with such cases on a fast-track basis. In this order, the Commissioner of Police set a time frame for divisional commanders and branch commanders to ensure that inquiries into simple cases are completed within 1 month and complex cases within 3 months. And delays beyond this time frame should be fully justified by inquiring officers, failing which they will be liable to disciplinary actions. Now, these actions are meant, of course, to limit the time taken to complete inquiries at the level of police, and cases are then, of course, referred to the Office of DPP for prosecution and cases eventually to be lodged before the courts.
Thank you, Honorable Prime Minister. We all know that those police officers are innocent until proven guilty. But can the Honorable Prime Minister inform us, is there a way that the government can avoid paying their salaries to those who are interdicted for such a long period of time and who are actually, meantime, working elsewhere, like they have those who have their own business or those who are drivers as well?
Well, the proceedings for appointment, promotion and termination of the appointment of public officers, they are governed by the Discipline Forces Service Commission regulations of 1997. And Section 28 of this regulation, in fact, provides for the interdiction of a member of the Mauritius Police Force from exercising the powers and functions of his office in the public interest, where proceedings for dismissal are being undertaken, or where criminal proceedings are being instituted, or where proceedings for retirement on grounds of public interest are being taken against that member. However, the regulations provide stringent rules concerning the dismissal and disciplinary proceedings that are taken against them, or those who are involved in criminal cases. Now, officers involved in the criminal cases, of course, they are safeguarded from dismissal throughout the entire and sometimes lengthy criminal processes. And also this is regulated by the Financial Management Manual, which provides that officers under interdiction shall not be deprived of their basic salary. So the government cannot, unless we do amend these regulations, but unfortunately I don't think it is fair, because eventually somebody can be also found not to be guilty of any offense to which he's being reproached. So I think the issue is how fast can we deal with such cases, or if there can be disciplinary actions which are likely to be to take shorter time, because by the time a case is heard in court And by the time when we know that so many cases, unfortunately, are being postponed for one reason or another, that is where the problem lies.
B549, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to refer the honourable member to the reply I made to parliamentary question B768 on 10th of November 2020. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Commissioner of Police informed that he received a correspondence on 24th of July 2020 from Ministry of Labour, Human Resource Development and Training regarding alleged cases of malpractices at the Mauritius Football Association. On Friday, 31st of July 2020, the matter was referred to the Central Criminal Investigation Department for inquiry. In the course of investigation, 2 members of the Mauritius Football Association, namely the President and the Deputy General Secretary, as well as the Treasurer of Cercle de Joachim Club Sportif, were interviewed. Mr. Speaker, sir, according to the Commissioner of Police, following information provided to police to the fact that FIFA had already been informed of the allegations since 25th of February 2020 by an unknown entity, a correspondence was sent to National Crime Bureau, Bern, on Tuesday, 24th of November 2020, through the National Central Bureau Interpol, Port-Louis, for the purpose of the inquiry. On Monday, 4th of January 2021, the National Central Bureau, Bern of Switzerland, replied through an email that the FIFA Disciplinary Committee had ruled out that 1. The Cercle de Joachim Club Sportif is responsible for the infringement of the relevant provisions of the regulation on the status and transfer of players related to the mandatory use of transfer matching system for all international transfers of professional players, and to the administrative procedure governing the transfer of professionals between associations. 2. The Mauritius Football Association and the Cercle de Joachim Club Sportif should pay a fine to the tune of 10,000 Swiss francs each. And third, the Mauritius Football Association should be warned on its future conduct. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Commissioner of Police has further informed that the Central Criminal Investigation Department is investigating further into the case with a view to establishing any criminal offence which may have been committed.
Monsieur le Président, cela fait bientôt une année que l'enquête a été enclenchée au niveau du CCID. Et au fait, est-ce que le Premier ministre est-il informé? Enfin, en fait, ils viennent de le dire, que le cercle de Joachim et la MFA ont été sanctionnés par la FIFA. Et cela cause un tort immense à l'image de Maurice. De ce fait, qu'ont-ils demandé à son ministre des Sports d'agir à cet effet, comme il l'avait fait dans le cas de Kessie Tirouvengadem, qui voulait effectuer son retour au sein de l'association mauricienne de volleyball après l'épisode de Gold Coast.
Well, this is another issue, Mr. Speaker, sir, because the question is about an inquiry at the level of the police. Now, whether a criminal offence has been disclosed or not, that is one thing. Now, with regard to issue of whether they have conformed to the regulations of Football Association, FIFA? What are the... I have a few questions which you yourself, Honourable Member, you have asked, you have put to my colleague, the Minister for Sports. So, of course, he has answered and he's looking into that, and he will take appropriate measures if need be, if required. But I can answer at the level of the police. I can say again that the inquiry is still ongoing, and that if ever, of course, it discloses a criminal offence, the matter will be referred to the DPP of the inquiry for appropriate action.
Pour savoir, Monsieur le Président, qui au niveau du CCID est l'enquêteur principal dans cette affaire?
I don't have the name, but I can provide the name because this is, there's no problem for me to provide the name.
Merci. Thank you, Speaker. Can the Honourable Prime Minister tell us of this incident with the Malagasy players, whether the Cercle de Joachim Sports Club have made requests for work permit for other foreign players?
Yes, on the 30th of December of this year, of 2020 in fact, the Ministry of Labour, Human Resource Development and Training, they sent applications for e-work permits for 5 Guinean players to take employment as football players at the Cercle de Joachim Sport Club for the remaining of 2020-2021 football season, that ending 31st of July 2021. And in the light of the situation of alleged malpractice with the Malagasy players, and since the matters are still under investigation by the concerned authorities, I am informed that the Ministry of Youth, Empowerment, Sports and Recreation did not recommend the application of the work permits. And on 2nd of April, the applications were turned down. And there has been an appeal also by the Cercle de Joachim, but that also had been turned down. So this is in fact proof of the action of my colleague, Honourable Minister, in the light of the sanction that has been taken by FIFA against the club.
550.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I am informed by the Commissioner of Police that cases are referred to the Cybercrime Unit of the Central Criminal Investigation Division by the Information and Communication Technologies Authority, the Mauritian Cybercrime Online Reporting System, Computer Emergency Response Team of Mauritius, and private individuals making complaints in the police stations around the island. The Cybercrime Unit also carries out cyber patrol through random search on social media platforms to detect offensive and undesirable posts. The MOCOS, which was set up in March 2018, is a centralized cyber incident reporting system that connects the CERT-MU, the Cybercrime Unit of the Mauritius Police Force, and the Data Protection Office, and the Information and Communication Technologies Authority. The types of incidents reported thereto include online harassment, online fraud and scams, identity theft, cyberbullying, and sextortion. Mr. Speaker, sir, I am also informed by the Commissioner of Police that a number of cases referred to the Cybercrime Unit for investigation for the period January 2015 to 10th of June 2021 is 1,888, including 153 cases for period January 2021 to to 10th of June 2021. I am tabling the number of cases for both the periods as requested by the Honourable Member, with details indicating the number of persons arrested, prosecuted and convicted. As regards Part B of the question, I am informed that the cybercrime unit is manned by 22 police officers as follows: 1 assistant superintendent of police, 2 inspectors of police, 2 police sergeants, 15 police constables, and 2 women police constables. The unit is under the supervision of a Deputy Commissioner of Police, and the Police IT unit provides them with technical support in the course of their investigations.
The Honourable Prime Minister referred to complaints being made at local police stations. Is he aware that in fact all complaints are directed to the cybercrime unit, and this is causing a lot of problems because there is a backlog at the level of cybercrime unit? So would the Honourable Prime Minister consider taking up the matter with the Commissioner of Police so that local police stations henceforth be directed to record complaints relating to cybercrime officers?
The cases are recorded, but at the police station, but they are sent and they are referred to this unit because they are the ones who are specialized in dealing with such kind of cases for investigation. So that is the process.
Is the Honourable Prime Minister aware of the poor physical conditions in which the cybercrime unit operates at the Central CID? I've had the opportunity of going there. They don't have air conditioning. It's a very small room, no flooring, lack of equipment. So would the Honourable Prime Minister consider taking up the matter with the Commissioner of Police so that they be given a better working space?
In fact, I have, because this issue was raised by Honourable Lobin also before in the House, and I have been informed that cybercrime unit, of course, first of all, is based at the first floor of the CCID, which is located in the Line Barracks compound. And I am told that being given that the building housing the cybercrime unit is classified as historical building under the National Heritage Trust Fund. Huh? As such, no major infrastructure changes could be brought. So, but nevertheless, I'm told that there have been some, I would say some improvement. There have been some renovation works that have been carried out. But it's good for me to inform the House that a new district headquarters is actually on construction at the ex-married quarters of Abercrombie and will be completed soon. And the following units, that is the Police Family Protection Unit, the SOCO, the CID Metro North, which are actually based at the IKS building, will move to the new DHQ, and thereafter arrangements are being made to relocate the cybercrime unit at the IKS building.
Time over by 5 minutes. The table has been advised that PQ B576, PQ B611, B614, B615, B616, and B639 have been withdrawn. Honourable Mia.
B557.
Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to part A of the question, I'm informed the House that according to the National Cancer Registry reports, there were 2,809 cases of breast cancer which were detected from 2015 to 2019. Of the 2,809 detected cases, 2,745 cases were female and 64 were male. there were 483 female breast cancer cases and 10 male cases detected in 2015, 561 female cases and 19 male cases in 2016, 583 female cases and 7 male cases in 2017, 570 female cases and 16 male cases in 2018, and 548 female cases and 12 male cases in 2019. As regards the figures for the cases of 2020, same are being compiled. Mr. Speaker, sir, in reply to part B of the question, I wish to inform the House that the cervical cancer screening program is being carried out for early detection and treatment of married or sexually active women who are aged between 30 to 60 years according to international guidelines. The screening of breast cancers is being carried out in primary healthcare centers and the health promotion unit. As regards to mammography, the WHO has recommended organized population-based mammography screening programs for women aged between 50 to 69 years. The WHO has also suggested a screening interval of 2 years. It is estimated that around 4,000 women are screened for breast and cervical cancers every year in Mauritius. The role of screening is of paramount importance to detect early breast cancers. The survival rate of early diagnosis of breast cancer is about 90%. Mr. Speaker, sir, moreover, there are imaging facilities such as ultrasonography, which is available in all the regional hospitals, and digital mammography, which is available at Victoria and G2 hospitals. Numerous studies have corroborated that conventional mammography is the only effective population-based strategy for early detection that mitigates the risk of breast cancer-specific mortality. According to the WHO, so far, the only breast cancer screening method that has proved to be effective in organized population-based programs is mammography screening. Mr. Speaker, so I am informed that the treatment modalities for breast cancer are surgery, chemotherapy, radiotherapy, hormonal therapy, and targeted therapy. Surgery is carried out in the regional hospitals, following which the patient are referred to the Department of Radiotherapy at Victoria Hospital for routine follow-up. Chemotherapy services are provided at G2 Hospital, Nehru Hospital, and SSR Hospital. Radiotherapy is currently being provided in the Radiotherapy Department at Victoria Hospital. Hormonal therapy is available in all regional hospitals by using selective estrogen receptor modulators and aromatase inhibitors. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to targeted therapy, 20% of all breast cancers are HER2 nude positive requiring trastuzumab, which is a monoclonal antibody used to treat breast cancer. Previously, this drug was approved for only 6 months for use for premenopausal women patients, whereas treatment is recommended for 1 year as per international guidelines. However, since 2020, a new protocol has been set up, including postmenopausal patients and selected metastatic cases, and treatment duration has been extended to 1 year. Mr. Speaker, sir, the new cancer center is expected to be fully operational by beginning of next year. The block at the new cancer center will have state-of-the-art technological equipment, namely the linear accelerator with multi-leaf collimator. It will also provide nuclear medicine facilities like PET scan along with a team of fully trained personnel. Conformal 3D radiotherapy will be soon available in the new cancer center. Since February 2020, the inpatient service for palliative care services have been shifted to the new cancer center, and outpatient clinics have successfully been opened in 4 regional hospitals, namely Victoria, G2, SSR, and Nehru hospitals. Mr. Speaker, sir, with regard to part C of the question, I'm informed that 5 to 10% of breast cancers are linked to an inherited gene mutation. About half of these breast cancers are linked to a BRCA1 or BRCA2 gene mutation, that is the breast cancer genes 1 and 2. The BRCA gene test is a blood test that uses DNA analysis to identify mutations in BRCA1 and BRCA2. This test is normally offered to those who have a likelihood to have inherited mutations based on personal or family history of breast or ovarian cancer. It can, however, determine mutations in prostate, pancreatic, and skin tumors. However, the introduction of this test is in the pipeline, as the Ion Torrent Next Generation Sequencer, which has recently been purchased by my ministry, will be used to conduct such tests with all the necessary reagents and consumables.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. Early diagnosis undoubtedly decreases deaths from breast cancer and improves 5-year survival. Does the Minister not think it is high time that not only genetic testing of BRCA1, BRCA2, but also the new genetic testing such as TP53 and PALB, which is partner in localizer or BAC or BRCA2, be introduced, particularly that there have been various studies in Mauritius that have shown there are clusters of families who have inheritedly genetic predisposition to breast cancer.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the honorable member is totally right. This is why the government is coming with the new cancer center, and in the new cancer center, the provisions have been made to have the equipment, the reagents, the training of the staff, so that all these tests can be done in the near future.
Can the Minister inform the House whether the PET scan has been procured and when will it be fully operational?
Mr. Speaker, sir, the procedures for procurement, that is involving the different steps with our consultant, the HSCC, is being carried out. Part of the equipment has already reached Mauritius. The commissioning is being carried out, awaiting the building to get ready. And then once we get ready the building, and then we can import the rest of the equipment, because at the same time we have to get the building ready so that these equipment can be installed and commissioned.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. I've been apprised actually by one of my mandates of a waiting list for mammography patients. Can the Honourable Minister inform the House as to how many patients are still on this waiting list, and if he can as well enlighten the House as to how many number of mammographies are being carried out in the 5 regional hospitals. Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, now the records kept at the ministry, so far I have a mammography for 2018, that is 1,025 mammographies were carried out, 2019 320, and 2020 1,295. Now, for the waiting list, at present, there are 67 patients awaiting mammography as at 31st May 2021.
Last supplementary.
Thank you. Mastectomy and partial radical mastectomy, which everybody of us here have heard of relatives having such distressing body surgery in an attempt to prevent the recurrence of breast cancer. Will the Honourable Minister confirm whether he will enlist, or he does have, the services of plastic reconstructive surgery for the betterness of these women who already have suffered serious emotional downgrade following their breast surgery? Thank you.
Mr. Speaker, sir, at present there is no breast surgeon in Mauritius. Even the expression of interest were carried out, but we didn't get anybody. The ministry is doing needful. We have already arranging a breast surgeon through the Edinburgh University, and the procedures is being, if everything will be finalized, we will have a breast surgeon who will particularly be dealing with the mastectomy and the reconstructive surgeries for mastectomy.
Next question.
B558, please.
Mr. Speaker, sir, in order to enable the use of COVID-19 home self-testing kits as an indicative tool for detection of COVID-19, the Ministry of Commerce and Consumer Protection promulgated the Consumer Protection Control of Imports Amendment Regulation 2021 that allow for importation of COVID-19 home self-testing kits by interested parties under stipulated conditions on 9th April 2021. Prospective importers submit their respective applications along with all relevant documents to the Ministry of Commerce and Consumer Protection on the TradeNet portal. Mr. Speaker, sir, the Ministry of Commerce and Consumer Protection has to obtain the clearance of my ministry before authorizing the importation of COVID-19 home self-testing kits. A standing committee has been set up under the chairpersonship of the Director General Health Services to assess the applications received and make appropriate recommendations to the Ministry of Commerce and Consumer Protection, which thereafter issues authorization to the successful applicants for importation of COVID-19 home self-testing kits. In reply to Part A of the question, the Standing Committee evaluates the quality of the product based on a set of evaluation criteria, which include, inter alia, the requirement for the product to be COVID-19 antigen-based test kit with nasal, nasopharyngeal saliva swabs and approved by the WHO or Food and Drug Administration or the European Union, respectively. Mr. Speaker, sir, in reply to Part B of the question, the quarantine, control of sale and use of COVID-19 home self-testing kit, Regulation 2021, have been promulgated so as to control the sale and use of the COVID-19 home self-testing kits, including analysis of the samples and reporting of the results. According to the provisions under the regulations, private health institutions, medical practitioners, wholesale and retail pharmacies, and private laboratories, and companies involved in the importation of laboratory reagents, which are duly registered with my ministry, are allowed to import the COVID-19 home self-testing kits.
Thank you, Honorable Minister. And the Honorable Minister consider, in the eventuality of having home self-testing kit in Mauritius, whether these kits can be made available free to frontliners and also to all those people in this country who have been told they have serious contraindications and allergic reaction to vaccination in an attempt to curb COVID-19.
Mr. Speaker, sir, the gold standard test for testing COVID-19 is the PCR test. Now, those who are not eligible to do the vaccination or who have a certificate where it's already stipulated that they are not eligible to do vaccination, the Ministry of Health is providing those frontliners free testing for PCR tests. And doing a PCR test, which is a gold standard one, and doing a home self-testing test, there is a difference. Now, in the future, we may consider these tests to get it available freely, but It's only the time we can tell us in which direction we should take.
The table is advised that PQ B605, 626, 627, 628, and 629 have been withdrawn. Next question. Next PQ.
B559.
Mr. Speaker, sir, I wish to thank the honourable member for giving me a chance to enlighten the House and the country at large on this issue. I wish also to inform the House that since the start of the COVID-19 pandemic, Mauritius has been working closely with the Africa Centre for Disease Control and Prevention, including through sharing of data, procurement of medical supplies, and regular updates on the evolution of the pandemic across the continent. In October 2020, with a view to promoting a common standard for health screening for cross-border travel purposes across the continent, the African Union officially launched the Trusted Travel Platform as part of the overall Trusted Travel Initiative. Mr. Speaker, sir, the AU Africa CDC Trusted Travel Platform was developed by Panabios Consortium and Econet Group as a public-private partnership with Africa CDC with a view to supporting member states in verifying COVID-19 test certificates for travelers and to help harmonize entry and exit screening across the continent. The platform digitizes the entry and exit protocols of member states. It also offers a turnkey compliance engine for national border authorities to automatically verify health credentials like laboratory test results through electronic interconnections among laboratories, airlines, public health authorities, other stakeholders, and the Africa CDC, the disease control and prevention. We welcome this initiative of the African Union through the Africa CDC in collaboration with Panabios, as it is in line with government policy of digitalization of services to facilitate reopening of borders. Sir, in April 2021, a joint public-private sector working group was set up under the chairmanship of the Honourable Deputy Prime Minister, Minister of Housing and Land Use Planning, Minister of Tourism, to formulate recommendations for the reopening of our borders and the relaunch of the tourism sector. Subsequently, the joint public-private sectors working group set up 3 subcommittees to look into entry requirement and health protocols, air connectivity and destination marketing, and to come up with recommendations. The respective subcommittees have set up relevant technical working groups to look into the different aspects of customer journey facilitation at the airport, digitalization of the processes, simplifying or eliminating any duplication of requests of information from travelers, and collection of COVID-19 testing and vaccination information. In addition, sir, the Ministry of Information Technology, Communication and Innovation is chairing a task force to study and recommend the digital solution required for improving the customer experience at the airport in the context of the early and safe opening of our borders. Consultative meetings are currently ongoing by the task force and work is in progress. On its part, I am informed that the Ministry of Health and Wellness has been developing COVID LIMS based on an open source open LIS platform, both patient-wise and passenger-wise, with assistance from the UNDP. Our national database of more than 250,000 computer files created for tests requested and results entry ultimately will need to be connected to the trusted travel platform offered free of charge by African Union after that data protection and confidentiality regulations have been respected. Therefore, sir, we are leaving no stone unturned to facilitate the reopening of our borders with all necessary sanitary precautions.
Thank you, Honourable Minister. Will your ministry consider that each foreign vaccine certificate for foreign nationals coming in our country, hopefully after the 15th of July, bears a QR code that can be identified by the Mauritian authorities, similarly for our own vaccine certificate, to avoid bogus certificates? And I have to inform the House that already bogus certificates are on sale in Mauritius.
Mr. Speaker, sir, as I just informed the House, there is the task force which is working on all and studying the whole situation and recommending solutions required for improving the entry of passengers. And I am sure that this matter will be looked into by the subcommittee and the working groups.
In his reply, the Honourable Minister referred to a task force. Could the Honourable Minister inform the House what are the objectives of this task force that he just mentioned?
Yes, I am informed that this task force, which is being chaired by the Minister of Information and Technology, as I said, has different objectives, multiple objectives in fact. One, to take stock of current process for clearing arriving passengers at immigration and health counters at the SSR International Airport. B, to take stock of the future IT systems, for example, the Advanced Passenger Information System and the Public Health Passenger Locator Form that could be envisaged. C, to take stock of the International Civil Aviation Organization collaborative arrangement for the prevention and management of public health events in civil aviation, and Council Aviation Recovery Task Force Phase 3 report. D, to take stock of the International Air Transport Association Travel Pass mobile app. E, to identify the IT gaps in the current process as regards collection of COVID-19 testing and vaccination information. And lastly, to recommend the most appropriate digital solution in relation to the proposed reopening of borders and a short-term solution as well as the long-term solution. Thank you.
Can the Honourable Minister inform us whether government is considering to have mutual recognition of our vaccine certificate, irrespective of the type of vaccine that were inoculated to our population, with countries whose nationals are visiting us and to which we are going to allow entry? Because such actions have already been taken by some countries to recognize each other's vaccine green passport. Thank you.
I understand that this matter is being currently looked into by the different, the high-powered committee and the other committees set up by government, Mr. Speaker.
I suspend the sitting for 1.5 hours.